Welcome everyone to the City Council member meeting for February 11th, 2025. We stand for a moment of silence followed by Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Middlecombe?
Here.
Martino?
Here.
Claus?
Here.
Cap?
Here.
Dyke?
Here.
Greaves? Hagee?
Here. Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Klaus.
make a motion to excuse Mr. Greaves from tonight's meeting.
Question on the motion? Roll call, please.
Claus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Hagee?
Yes.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Very good. Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Dyke.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of January 28th, 2025 council work session and regular meeting as written.
Questions? Roll call, please.
Dyke?
Abstain.
Hagee?
Yes.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Claus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes. Next, we have audience comments. Citizens may address their concerns to City Council. Please state your name and address for the recorded journal, and please keep it to a 3-minute time limit.
You?
Very good. We'll move on to old business. We have ordinance number 2025-3.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hagee.
I move that ordinance number 2025-3 be placed on its second reading.
Questions on the second reading? Roll call, please.
Hagee?
Yes.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Claus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Very good. Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, members of the council, staff in attendance, and those watching at home. This is ordinance number 2025-3, an ordinance repealing and replacing section 1369.04 fees of chapter 1369 transient rental property of the Huron codified ordinances.
Mr. Lasko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As mentioned at the last council meeting, we are simply codifying the annual transient rental registration fee and reinspection fee, which are respectively $400 for a license and $50 for a reinspection. The dollar amounts have not changed compared to prior years. We are just codifying them. And then, as mentioned, based on the recommendations from some council members, ultimately we'll work towards a singular zoning fee schedule similar to what we have for our building fees. So we'll work on that. But we wanted to at least codify the existing transient rental fee in the interim.
Good. Any questions for Mr. Lasko? All right, moving on to new business. We have ordinance number 2025-4.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hagee.
I move that the three reading rule is waived and ordinance 2025-4 be placed on its first reading.
Questions on the first reading? Roll call, please.
Hagee?
Yes.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Martino? Claus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Very good. Mr. Schrader has.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is ordinance number 2025-4, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2024-58, adopted on December 18, 2024, to provide for supplemental appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources.
Very good. Mr. Lasko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're generally doing two things in this appropriations ordinance. The first is, which has zero impact to the overall budget, because we are without a finance director in which we had that salary under personnel services. We are moving money out of personnel services in multiple funds and moving that into other expenses, which can help us pay for our two contracted individuals that are helping in the finance department. So we're moving right around $22,000 out of personnel and just moving that into a separate line item for the contract individuals. So that is zero impact to the budget. Secondarily, we are increasing the appropriation in our healthcare plan under personal services of $100,000. That is because we had several HRA claims, which were in the budget, substantial cash in the account. We had several HRA claims that come in after the first of the year that are from 2024. So we need to appropriate for those HRA claims to close out 2024. So that's all we're doing with that appropriation item. There's sufficient dollars in the healthcare account to close out. And again, just a reminder to council and the public, that closes out the HRA entirely. We've now moved to HSA, which is much more predictable. HRAs, you never know how much you're going to spend on a calendar basis. The HSA is predictable from a budgetary standpoint. And we did front load that for our employees in 2025 as well. But I just wanted to denote that change. It'll help with us being able to predict our HSA contributions moving forward.
The carryover HRA just carries over. Do you use that to go into the HSA?
No, those were just from claims 2024, completely different than the HSA that we put into people's.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Eggy,
Yes.
Fiddlecombe.
Yes.
Martino,
Yes.
Claus,
Yes.
Cap,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Very good. Next is resolution number 17-2025.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Artino.
move to waive the three reading rule and place resolution number 17-2025 on its first.
Questions on the three reading? Roll call.
Martino,
Yes.
Claus,
Yes.
Cap,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Eggy,
Yes.
Fiddlecombe,
Yes.
Mr. Schrader.
Thank you. This is resolution number 17-2025, a resolution delineating an overlay in relation to the proposed ConAgra incentive district within the city of Huron, Ohio, and adopting a written economic development plan as to the same, setting the time and place of a public hearing, and approving related matters.
Very good. Mr. Lasco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try to boil this down to the sort of the three basic elements of it. And this is one of a series of TIF pieces of legislation that will come before council, ultimately leading up to the actual adoption of the TIF ordinance, which I think at this point we're anticipating sometime late spring, early summer to bring this in for a landing. If you'll remember, in 2024, we had to eliminate the existing TIF because it did not allow for sale residential housing. So now we're starting the process to create the new TIF to allow for sale residential housing. So this legislation will do three things. What the type of TIF they call this is an incentive district TIF, which is the type of TIF you have to do for sale housing. So first it creates just an overlay, a square or a rectangle over the parcel, which we have an exhibit of, which fully encapsulates our 10, 11 acres on ConAgra. Two, as part of Ohio Revised Code, we have to adopt an economic development plan related to the parcel, which is pretty basic, but just talks about the project in general in terms of what it's going to produce from a construction standpoint and why that is a benefit to the community. And then thirdly, there is an engineer's certification stating that there is unequivocally a need for improvements to public infrastructure on the site as well. So this will allow us, if approved, we will then move forward to a series of public notifications and a public hearing prior to a TIF ordinance, again, coming late spring, early summer. But simple Ohio Revised Code requirements for us to ultimately approve an incentive district TIF. Happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Hagee.
What happens if it doesn't? At the hearing, doesn't get approved? I mean, we're pretty far along the way of what we're doing.
The good news is, I mean, ultimately, it's everything moving forward is at the discretion of council. So there is not a third party or other legislative body that would say that this TIF can't move forward. So barring council not wanting it to move forward, it'll move forward. And then just so everyone's aware, the folks that get notified of the public hearing, I mean, obviously we'll notify the public, but we have to send a letter to the owner. So we'll serve ourselves that the parcel is going to be placed in a TIF. So we'll be the only one that's formally notified. But candidly, I think I'm answering your question. The only way this TIF doesn't proceed is if council does not want it to.
Any other questions?
Well, that wasn't my question. My question was, what happens if it doesn't? Just, surprise witness at the hearing. I don't know. I'm just curious. Does everything stop?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councilman Hagee, and I'm going to put words in the mouths of the developer, which may be unfair. although we heard it through both request for qualifications processes with every developer that submitted, if the city does not fix the seawall and make the investment, they will not make their investment. So I guess to answer your question, probably dead on arrival at that point. Yeah.
Anyone else? Final adoption.
Martino,
Yes.
Claus,
Yes.
Cap,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
Fiddlecom,
Yes.
Next, we have a motion.
Mayor?
Mr. Artino.
A motion to set a public hearing on council's former adoption of the proposed incentive district TIF ordinance for Tuesday, April 8th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. immediately preceding the regular city council meeting.
Good. Questions on the motion? Final adoption.
Martino,
Yes.
Claus,
Yes.
Cap,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
Fiddlecom,
Yes.
Very good. Next, we have resolution number 18-2025.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Biddlecombe.
I move to waive the three reading rule and to place resolution number 18-2025 on its first reading.
Questions on the first reading? Call, please.
Fiddlecom,
Yes.
Martino,
Yes.
Claus,
Yes.
Cap,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number 18-2025, a resolution authorizing submission of a grant application to the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, Highway Safety Improvement Program, HSIP, relating to the South Main Street Streetscape Project in an amount not to exceed $500,000, and further authorizing the city manager to accept said grant award in an amount not to exceed $500,000 should the application be successful.
Good. Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is staff going out trying to find more money to try and fund some of these projects. This is a new HSIP grant program that came out. The maximum you can apply for is 500, so that's what we're going to try for. In general terms, we'd be able to use this money, if granted it, for crosswalks, multi-use pathways, anything that improves the safety of people walking and transporting on the roads. I believe the application is due on March 31st. We're actually not asking for forgiveness for months.
For sidewalks and stuff, I guess I'll throw this. Where are we at on the sidewalks? We already have a grant for that, right? East side of.
We are still waiting to get out from underneath ODOT on that one, same as the crosswalks on Route 13. Both of them are stuck at central office with ODOT at this point.
Okay.
We have all the plans designed. They're ready to go. As soon as we get released, we can put them out to bid.
Okay. I've get questions on when I said. Call Stu.
1104.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Any questions, Mr. Hamilton? Very good. Final adoption.
Fiddlecom,
Yes.
Martino,
Yes.
Claus,
Yes.
Cap,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
Very good. Moving right along, we have the city manager's discussion. Mr. Lasko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, those in the audience, those watching at home. Fairly short report for this evening. Did just want to give an update, which I'll try to do every meeting as it relates to ConAgra. As of Friday, February 7th, the purchase agreement has been signed and fully executed by both parties. That has been sent over to Hartung Title, who will be handling escrow and closing for that transaction. So the due diligence period has officially commenced for the development team. A few updates with Parks and Recreation. First, the Berlin Road property. As we all know at the last meeting, we did decide on a name for the green space, which sort of serves as a acknowledgement to the family that was responsible for developing the lake on site. Doug and his team are moving forward with ordering the signage so that we can install likely sometime in spring, early summer at the latest. Also did want to provide an update, and Doug, please interrupt me if I misspeak. But I'll jog everyone's memories to the fact that the Army Corps of Engineers was awarded about $10 million maybe a year or two ago to do significant reconstruction of the West Pier heading out to the lighthouse. We did get communication today that they are anticipating, and this is rough, but they are anticipating their work period to be from early July of this year till right after Thanksgiving of this year. So there's going to be a lot of logistics involved, closures, staging. We'll make sure between public service and Parks and Rec, we're keeping the public and council aware of how that's going to impact folks on the north end. But again, it's pretty significant resources and needed resources, but there's going to definitely be some growing pains, I'm sure, as they're working down there. Doug, I don't know if there's more color at the moment that's worth adding, or if
nobody's been proactively trying to reach out and stay in communication with them. July 7th till December 2nd, but they have some submittals. They're waiting on the contractor before we can meet with them and find out about access. You know, our concerns are, from the city standpoint, is the access. What are they blocking off when, and staging areas and all those types of things. So we just want to be in the loop the whole time.
Do we know what they're doing?
Yes. Island base of called the Showboat property, that first stretch all the way out, new sheet pile all along that wall.
All the way out to the
Not
blockhouse?
out to the blockhouse, the first bend.
Oh, which
already
already
has
has
sheet
sheet
pile.
pile.
Yes.
Okay. Where it goes up or the ramp.
And then there was some other little, that's what we haven't seen, the actual documents, that's what we went on. And how, you know, we know they're gonna be working some from water and some from land. So how does that impact pedestrian traffic?
A lot.
Are they pulling the old ones out?
No, they're just gonna go right in front.
Just go all the way down.
No, that's fine. Also had several acknowledgements for Parks and Rec. Doug, thank you for sharing. The first is the Lake Erie Scenic Vista designation. Huron has been awarded 3 Lake Erie Scenic Vista locations through the Ohio Coastal Management Program by ODNR. This includes Lakefront Park, Rotary Centennial Park, and Lighthouse Pier. Signs will be hung with a QR code explaining what the ODNR Lake Erie Scenic Vista is all about and their locations along Lake Erie. The goal of the program is to identify, through a list of standardized criteria, locations that exhibit outstanding qualities ideal for Lake Erie scenic views. Also, an acknowledgement for the Ohio Clean Marinas Gold Level certification. The Huron Boat Basin Marina has earned gold level certification status by Ohio Clean Marinas for the Huron Boat Basin. This award acknowledges our team's efforts in ensuring that we uphold some of the highest standards for sustainable marina management, boater education, and employee training. The Ohio Clean Marinas program was established in 2004 as a proactive partnership between ODNR and the Ohio Sea Grant College program to provide a cleaner, safer boating experience for residents and visitors alike. By achieving the gold level certification, our staff has demonstrated our dedication to protecting Lake Erie and its surrounding environment. I would like to thank Brian Edwards for his efforts in this certification and commitment to environmental stewardship, and certainly, in addition to Brian, Doug as well, for all the support and leadership you've shown with Brian and before Brian, so thank you. 2 quick updates from the Finance Committee before this meeting. A bit of good news, although there is still a lot of work ahead, but through the end of January 2025, income tax receipts were 24% higher compared to last year. That's about 6% over budget. The thing I always want to caution, we don't really know where we're going to land or anticipate where we're going to be until about June or July. So although a good start to the year, this is truly just because of fourth quarter net profit from several of our businesses. So I don't know that I anticipate this to continue, but at least as a good start to the year. Obviously, we have a lot of other challenges, capital-wise and operating-wise, that we're going to continue to monitor. But again, a bit of good news to start the first month. And then there is a link in the manager's report to the January financial report if anyone is interested. And if there's any questions, always feel free to please reach out. 2 Huron Public Power updates. The first is the distribution rate study. This has been progressing for several months. With the increasing cost of maintenance and additional debt, with the installation of a 3rd transformer, a rate increase is required. This did go before the Utilities Committee on February 5th for consideration, and the committee gave staff direction to return ultimately with a final draft for review prior to coming to council. And then secondarily, we did start the first expansion of Huron Public Power to get under the railroad tracks. Unfortunately, the contractor has run into an issue with a main federal fiber line that runs under the tracks. After weeks of searching, we know the line is that the contractors know the line is there, but they cannot locate it. Without being able to find it, they are not allowed to bore. So I know Stu is on the contractors, somewhat out of our hands. I don't know if there's anything more to add. We just really have to wait till that fiber line is located.
We've reached out to Norfolk Southern to see if they will let us move our bore path 50 foot to the east, where we know the one place we found a fiber line at a certain depth is, and we can technically go underneath it. So we're waiting on them blessing us verbally so we can get the contractor going. If not, we don't want to have to go through and resubmit plans and go through the whole process again. So we're hopeful on that one. We'll keep you posted.
And just to close out meetings for the month, Planning Commission is Wednesday, February 19th at 5 o'clock in the council chambers. There's a Records Commission meeting Thursday, February 20th at 9 a.m. in the council chambers. City Council work session Tuesday, February 25th at 5:30 in the council chambers, followed by the City Council meeting Tuesday, February 25th at 6:30 in the council chambers. And then a reminder that city administrative offices will be closed this Monday, February 17th, in observance of President's Day. That concludes my remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Biddlecombe.
I had one comment that I said that I'd bring this up, talk of Huron Post. They have some concerns on Mill Street with the safety. Now that there's a lot of extra traffic, especially when gathering grounds line seems to go out in the street. If there's cars parked in front of post office, it creates a head-on situation at times. So there's concerns over that. Many of the people who were commenting on this think that there should be no parking there in front of the post office.
The north side?
Yeah,
Of the road.
north side.
West of the outlet.
Yeah, it'd be west of the outlet from the post office on the north side of the street. Other people said that they don't like the idea of losing parking, so I guess I'm suggesting maybe we keep an eye on that situation, and maybe if the safety committee wants to evaluate that. But I know there was a lot of people who seemed in agreement that that is a safety issue with traffic right there.
Through you, Ms. Rita, Councilman Biddlecombe, we can start to keep an eye on it, not to speak for you, Chief, but we'll keep an eye on it. And then certainly whether we think it's warranted or if we think we hear more from the community, I think we start at the safety committee for sure, which we can pull together at any time. But we'll do some investigation on our own as well.
Thanks.
No, thank you.
Have you had any complaints, Chief?
Directly.
Mr. Higgy.
Just looking for a quick update on that mother-in-law house allowed in the backyard.
Through you, Mr. Rita, Councilman Hagan, this actually just came up today. I know your jump in if I missed something. I know your team has put together some preliminary information pulled from other communities. I think the next step would be to corral another work session minimally to digest and sift through. And we'll make sure we send that out to council in advance. I'm sure there's a lot of codes and regulations, although we'll do everything we can to summarize it. But we'd love you guys to have a little bit of time then to read it in advance. But I'm guessing at this point we're probably, because we have a work session next week, we'll probably push that into March if that's okay. But yes, you guys have pulled together quite a bit, Todd. I don't know if
So other than, that's correct. I think there were 3 or 4 municipalities throughout the state. I think Cincinnati was one of them where they've done a lot, codified this. It's already in their ordinances and they're already it's already on the books. So there's stuff to look at for sure.
Anyone else? All right, mayor's discussion. I don't have a lot. Doug, congratulations to the Parks and the Lake Erie Scenic Vista designation and the Clean Marina. So, good job, 3 years in a row, I guess. So, good on that. It is going to be a busy summer. Niagara, River Road, looking here, looking there. We are going to stay busy. So, and I guess the one thing I want to do, I want to say thanks to the council. You guys are pretty much there for everybody, and get the word out on what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it, because I know there's comments on, I know Mr. Biddlecombe and I spoke earlier today that some of the things that we are, I wouldn't say getting blamed for, but pointed in a direction on the stuff that we have no say on. So if somebody has questions, just reach out and ask us, or a council member. Gladly find out the answer. Like I said, if we don't know what it is, we will find out for you. Other than that, I have nothing else. I will let you know there are some executive meetings this evening, but moving on, for the good of the order, Mr. Hagee.
Yeah, just want to say congratulations, Doug, to you and your team. And it sounds like Brian, especially, this is certainly not the first third-party accolade for the work you guys do. So that's really spectacular. Thank you. We all appreciate it. That's all I had.
Mr. Dyke.
Congratulations, all your efforts. Thank you. That's all.
Mr. Claus.
Same thing. That's I wrote down my note for Brian and Doug and his team. Parks and Rec's always been a big jewel for us. So appreciate all the efforts and keep it up.
Mr. Artino.
I agree. Thanks, Doug, to you and your whole crew. I think if you talk to anybody that comes here to visit or spend some time in the city, that's one of the first things they talk about. So it's definitely a jewel for the city. Thank you.
Biddlecombe.
Thank you, staff, for all your hard work. I'd also like to congratulate the boat basin on their Clean Marina certification. But I'd also like to congratulate the Huron Yacht Club. Also was awarded their recertification for a clean marina. And then the Huron Lagoons and Holiday Harbor were awarded that back in September as well. So that bodes very well for everyone along the river there. The next school board meeting is Monday, February 24th at 6 p.m. There is a Dine to Donate that benefits the Huron Student Council this Saturday, February 15th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Costa Azul. And I'd like to congratulate Riley Towns, Leah Cousins, Baron Dennis, Scott Allen, Nick Rager, Isaiah Pollock, Carter Schleshman, TJ Murray, Parker Burke, and Jason Lenchik, who all qualified to advance at the district swim meet that's coming up. There's no home games, but the tournaments are going to be announced soon. So please come out and support our local events, programs, and student athletes, and go Tigers.
Very good. So at this point in time, I will entertain a motion for executive session.
Mayor.
Klaus.
Mr. Mayor, I'm making a motion for 3 executive sessions this evening, and I will. First is for to consider the purchase of property for public purpose, sale of a property at competitive bidding, or sale of, or other disposition of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit for use property. First executive session. Second portion will be executive session to consider confidential information relating to marketing plans, business strategies, production techniques, trade secrets, personal financial statements, or applications for economic development assistance. And for those 2 executive sessions, we will invite Schrader, Mr. Hamilton, and Mr. Lasco. And then our final executive session will be to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee. And that will involve, in addition to council, just Mr. Schrader.
Very good. We shall adjourn to executive.
We have a vote on that motion.
Roll call.
Claus?
Yes.
Hap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Hagee?
Yes.
Biddlecombe?
Yes.
Artino?
Yes.
Now we will adjourn to We are back in session. There is no, we're not voting on anything, so I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Biddlecombe.
I move that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
Any questions? Roll call.
Biddlecombe.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Claus.
Yes.
Cap.
Yes.
Dyke.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Everybody have a good one. Happy Valentine's.